You know what's funny? The smartest traders I've ever met are often the most inconsistent. Meanwhile, the consistently profitable ones aren't geniuses. They're just disciplined enough to do the same boring thing every single day. Intelligence has almost nothing to do with consistency. In fact, high intelligence often works against you. And I'm going to show you exactly why that is. Intelligence is pattern recognition on steroids. That's literally what it is. Your brain sees patterns everywhere, makes connections faster, spots nuances other people miss. In most areas of life, that's an advantage. In trading, it's a trap. Because the smarter you are, the easier it is to convince yourself that this time is different. That this setup, even though it breaks your rules, has special characteristics that make it worth taking. Your intelligence doesn't help you follow your plan. It helps you justify breaking it. Let me show you what happens inside a smart trader's head. You have a rule. Only trade the first 2 hours after market open. Clear rule, right? Now it's 11 a.m. and a perfect setup appears. Here's where intelligence kicks in. Your brain immediately starts building a case. Well, volume is still elevated. Market structure looks clean. This specific pattern has historically worked well regardless of time. Plus, yesterday I missed the morning session, so technically this could count as my first setup of the day. Within seconds, your intelligent brain has constructed a perfectly logical argument for why this exception makes sense. And that argument feels rational. It feels like insight, like you're being flexible and adapting to market conditions. But you're not adapting. You're just breaking your rules with extra steps. This is what intelligence does in trading. It creates sophisticated justifications for emotional decisions. The smarter you are, the better those justifications sound. The better they sound, the more convinced you become that you're being smart, not impulsive. But the market doesn't care about your reasoning. It only cares whether you followed your edge or you didn't. Every time you make an exception, you're not trading your system anymore. You're trading random noise with a story attached to it. Here's where it gets interesting. Consistency isn't about being smart enough to know what to do. Everyone knows what to do. Every trader with 6 months of experience knows they should follow their plan, cut losses quickly, let winners run, and not revenge trade. That information is not the bottleneck. The bottleneck is doing the thing you know you should do when every part of your brain is screaming at you to do something else. And intelligence doesn't help with that. In fact, it makes it harder because your brain is really good at talking you out of discomfort. Think about what consistency actually requires. It requires you to take the exact same entry setup for the 47th time, even though the last 4 were losers. It requires you to cut a trade at your stop loss, even though you're certain it's about to reverse. It requires you to sit on your hands during choppy price action, even though you're bored and feel like you should be doing something. None of that requires intelligence. It requires the ability to be uncomfortable and do it anyway. That's a completely different skill set. And it's one that intelligence often interferes with. Let me explain why. Your brain hates discomfort. That's not a personality thing. That's evolution. Your brain is wired to avoid pain and seek comfort. Following your rules when you don't feel like it is uncomfortable. Taking a loss is uncomfortable. Sitting out of the market when it's moving is uncomfortable. Watching a setup develop without jumping in early is uncomfortable. Your intelligent brain's job is to get you out of discomfort as fast as possible. And the way it does that is by creating reasons why breaking your rules this one time is actually the smart move. Here's a real scenario. You're in a trade. Price moves against you and hits your stop-loss level. Your rule is to exit immediately. But your intelligent brain kicks in instantly. If I exit now, I'm taking a loss. But look, price is forming support right here. There's confluence with this trend line. Volume is decreasing, which suggests the move is exhausting. If I just hold for 2 more candles, this might reverse and I can exit break even or even with a small profit. That reasoning sounds smart. It sounds like analysis. It sounds like you're using market information to make a better decision. But you're not. You're just doing what your brain always does. Avoiding the pain of taking a loss. Intelligence didn't help you there. It just made the excuse sound more credible. Now compare that to a less intelligent trader with the same rule. Price hits their stop. They feel the discomfort. They don't like it. But their brain doesn't generate 10 reasons why holding makes sense. They just see the rule, feel the pain, and exit anyway because that's what the rule says. They're not smarter, they're just less equipped to argue with themselves. And in trading, that's actually an edge. This is why consistency is a discipline problem, not an intelligence problem. Discipline is doing what you said you'd do even when you don't want to, even when it feels wrong, even when you're certain you see something your rules don't account for. Discipline is overriding your brain's natural impulse to avoid discomfort. And the smarter your brain is, the more creative it gets at convincing you that breaking the rule is actually the disciplined thing to do. Here's what most people get wrong. They think if they just learn more, study harder, get smarter about the markets, consistency will follow naturally. It won't. I've seen traders who can analyze order flow like a surgeon, who understand market structure at a PhD level, who can explain economic correlations better than analysts, and they still blow accounts because they can't follow their own rules. Their intelligence isn't the problem. Their intelligence is working perfectly. It's just working against them. Let me show you what consistency actually looks like in practice. It's week 3 of trading your system. You've taken 15 trades, 8 winners, 7 losers. You're slightly up. Now setup 16 appears. It checks all your boxes. But you're tired. You had a long day. You kinda don't feel like trading. This is where consistency lives. Not in the setups that excite you, in the ones that bore you, in the ones where you don't feel like it but you take them anyway because your rules said so. Intelligence doesn't help you there. Discipline does. Or here's another one. You take a trade. It immediately moves in your favor. You're up 2% within 10 minutes. Your rule is to hold for your target or your trailing stop. But your brain starts talking. 2% in 10 minutes is great. What if it reverses? What if I give it all back? I should just take this win and feel good about the day. That voice sounds reasonable. It sounds smart, like you're being prudent and protecting profit. But you're not. You're just exiting early because holding through uncertainty is uncomfortable. Your intelligence built that narrative. Discipline would have kept you in the trade. This is the pattern. Intelligence creates narratives. Discipline follows rules. In trading, rules win. Every single time. Because rules are built on data, on probabilities, on what actually works over hundreds of trades. Narratives are built on what feels right in the moment, and feelings have nothing to do with edge. Think about it like this. You built a strategy, you backtested it. It wins 55% of the time with a solid risk-reward ratio. That edge exists because of specific conditions. The moment you start making exceptions, you're no longer trading that 55% system. You're trading something else entirely. Something you haven't tested. Something that probably doesn't have an edge. Your intelligence convinced you that you're improving the system in real time. You're not. You're destroying it. The traders who make it aren't the ones who are smartest. They're the ones who can tolerate being bored and uncomfortable the longest. They take the same setups. They follow the same rules. They cut losses at the same levels. They do this for months, for years. They don't deviate. They don't optimize midstream. They don't make exceptions. That's not intelligence. That's just commitment to a process. And process is what creates results. So here's your reality check. If you're inconsistent, it's not because you don't understand trading. You understand it fine. It's not because you're not smart enough. You're probably too smart for your own good. You're inconsistent because you keep letting your brain negotiate with your rules. You keep trusting your in-the-moment analysis over your pre-session plan. You keep believing that this time, this situation, this setup is different enough to warrant breaking your system. It's not. It never is. The market doesn't care about your reasoning. It only cares whether your actions align with your edge. And your edge only works when you execute it the same way every time. Intelligence won't get you there. Discipline will. Stop trying to outsmart your plan. Just follow it. Boringly, mechanically, consistently. That's the entire game. Do the thing you said you'd do. Every time. Without negotiation. That's it. That's what separates profitable traders from smart ones. And if you can do that, you don't need to be a genius. You just need to show up and execute. Same rules, same process, same boring discipline, every single day.